And good afternoon. Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN here in the beautiful city of downtown Elgin. This is WRMN. This is Wednesday. This is the 11th of April, 2012. You out there listening, want to lose weight fast, get rich quick. Do you want to look young forever? I sure do. Jeff Meyer sure does. We're doing the best we can here with the Lord Dion-Jones Show every Wednesday here on AM 1410. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our lovely hostess, the diva herself, Laura Dion-Jones. Laura, how you doing today?
I'm just fabulous. Here we are again, and you are just too sweet when you introduce me.
Yeah, you pay me well.
You wish. Did you guys know that it's only 71 more days till summer?
Oh, my goodness.
We had summer 2 weeks ago. I'm satisfied already.
To the real summer, though.
Well,
to the real summer. And did you know, Jeff, that if you started today, you could very easily drop 15 to 20 pounds before summer starts?
I could.
Not like you
I
need
might be
to.
a skeleton, but I could.
You would be. You know what? All you have to do, folks, is cut your white starch and sugar carbs, amp up your low glycemic veggie intake, and do some form of physical activity daily, and there you are. Speedo-worthy by summer.
Speedo-worthy.
Yeah. Well, we'll
that
have...
word? Did you make that word up?
Speedo-worthy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I may have.
Like that swapper, that one commercial.
Shopportunity?
Yeah,
Swapportunity?
Hey, I haven't seen what you're going to tell us here, and we never prearranged this, but congratulations to you. You were nominated.
I know.
Yeah, do you know this, Handsome Mike? Do you know this, what you was nominated for?
Nominated for...
This is going to be one of the best after the Image Award. This is second best. This is the YWCA. This is their leader luncheon, the top women of all. They'll gather on May 10th in Streamwood. And in the communications category, you're involved with Sue Olafson. She's in that category, but you're nominated in that... leading women of their world and description in the communications department.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So congratulations. So that's May 10th. You can get those tickets, 742-7930, 847 area code, for the YWCA putting on the leader luncheon event. You were nominated and went last year, didn't you?
Yes, I was.
I believe that event takes place at the Seville, doesn't it?
That's the Seville, yeah.
And the food was fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, it's a great...
Before we go any further, can I ask what number of show this is? I've been trying to keep track.
126.
126.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
I know that.
Listen, I also have another bit of news. Ms. Diva-Jones here goes to Springfield in May.
No.
I have been, yes.
Really?
Illinois State Senator Carol Pancaw invited me, called me yesterday, and they told me pick out a date, a Wednesday in May, come down, be a page for the day, and then do a live remote broadcast from the Capitol of the LDJ show. So if y'all don't want to come...
Are you on the phone or are you cellcasting it back?
I think we're going to be...
a technical moment, won't it?
Do you think we should cellcast it, or can we do a landline?
Well, you'll probably pick up a landline and phone us.
You know, I've been asked how Laura gets away with doing all these cool things. I said she asks.
Yeah.
I didn't ask. They invited. I didn't ask to be invited to the John C. Stennis. They stuff just kind of falls in my lap.
Well, then I was wrong. I don't know how you get away with getting all these great things.
Me either.
Let's go 80 miles an hour up the Fox River, which has probably never been done at that time. You might have been the second person ever to do that.
I was one of the first to do that, wasn't I?
You were the second to do that.
Janet Guthrie
besides
of the
the
water.
racers who actually were out there trying it out first.
But we were there the first day. We were pre-race. We were press day. I was with so I was like the first or second.
Yeah.
And you were there.
I was there, absolutely.
I have eyewitness. Anyway, great TV. Our favorite Mike Wallace died.
Yeah.
I think he was awesome.
He was interesting for you, young man, your career. Mike Wallace is, they said he was on WMAQ, but he also has WBBM radio time, where he's kind of an all-purpose performer. When you could do it in those days, he would read commercials, and he would be just entertaining until he was well into his late 30s,
80s.
I'll say. Well, I mean, and then he hops on 60 Minutes. He does a show called, before your time, and yours too, Diva, Biography, which is wonderful. They would take all the video film clips in those days, and Nikita Khrushchev, and he would do a half-hour show biography. I believe it was syndicated in the 60s. It was, and it still exists. Delightful, absolutely delightful. His narration was wonderful on that.
Maybe we can dig it up on YouTube or something.
Probably. It was very common. WGN showed it all that decade and more.
I'd love to see some of those. And we also need a moment of silence here for Ferdinand Alexander Porsche, the great-grandson of the inventor and designer of the Volkswagen, who died in his early 70s in Austria. I mean, I'm just saying.
Passed away in a Ford.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he had two last names of cars.
Or a Fiat or something.
Yeah.
And how about that Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin granny who landed the small plane after her pilot husband died shortly before landing? Way to go, girl. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Being a private pilot, it ain't no easy feat for someone to land a bird like that without nary a clue about what they're doing. However, if her husband was really a good pilot, he probably taught her a few basics for safety. Like if I was current and we were going to go flying, first thing I would do before we took off is I would tell you, look, Mike, if something happens to me, here's how you call 911 on the radio.
Yeah, I'd be lost too. I wouldn't know. So good for her.
Yeah, no, I was impressed that the other instructor went up, talked her down. That was just terrific. And then there's one more older gal news. If you go to YouTube and you look for Matilda Klein from Florida, she's 94 years old, and she danced a quick step with a gorgeous hunk of a younger guy, and you have to see it to believe it. So it's worth the effort to look it up because it was 94. She comes out in a raincoat and, you know, one of those Bouchard little plastic hats that the Bouchas wear so they don't get their little pin curls messed up. And she's in the walker and she comes out and I thought, oh, shut up. Because a friend of mine sent me that because she knows I love ballroom dancing. And then when she swings into gear, ditches the walker, you are not going to believe this woman. And I couldn't take my eyes off of her feet. She just floated.
Sure.
94. And let's see what else. And what also surprised me was good old boy Bubba Watson cried when he won the Masters this past Sunday. Were you all watching that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Where did he come from?
The South, I think.
Because, well, with a name like Bubba. I mean, he ain't from no Sturgeon Bay, I'll tell you that.
He was delightful with that.
Do you know what he is the proud owner of?
What?
The General Lee.
Oh, gosh, from the television series.
The 1970 Dodge Charger General.
No.
He owns the General Lee.
Shut up.
I kid you not.
Wow, no wonder he was crying. I wonder if he's going to put
the... called Bubba.
Yeah.
The show was called Bubba.
You know what? I heard he never took a formal golf lesson. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Natural?
That's what I heard.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Jess, you're the sports guy. You be on it and let us know next week.
Yes.
Do you guys think it's okay for men to cry?
Yeah.
At sporting events, we lead the league in it. Mike Schmidt retired. When he retired, when you retire with a press conference in the modern day, it's almost you must weep, even if they say they don't.
Well, you know, for as tough love as I am, I'm very sensitive, and I cry almost at everything like Speaker Boehner. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that crying shows you're weak. I think it shows your extreme sensitivity and not weakness at all, as some think. But we're going to talk a little bit more about weakness and stuff like that in the workplace in a sec. And did you know also that April is Driver Awareness Month?
Wow. Be aware of all drivers, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, especially if they're on their cell phones.
Make sure somebody's behind the wheel, yeah.
Well, you know what? There was a woman in L.A. who she dropped her cell phone between her seat and console, and she ran into another woman, a pedestrian, while she was looking for it. I mean, that's like...
But she ordered a pizza at the same time.
Yeah. She might have. I don't know. And another thing, Nurse Jackie and the Big C started up the season this past Sunday, and I erroneously said it was Monday. Well, this past Sunday. And Nurse Jax was so raw, so intense, so edgy, I could hardly watch it. I mean, it was, you know what? I was originally trained in screenwriting, and I know exactly where the writers were going with the characters and the plot lines. And boy, oh boy, did they ever amp up the drama and take it to the extreme, because that's what they tell you to do. Make it the most extreme drama that you can do for the scene. The Big C did disappoint me a tad, I'm afraid, at least for their season opener compared to Nurse Jackie, which roared out of the starting gate. I mean, it was incredible. And you know that I'm fascinated by terrific, extremely quirky characters. That's why I'm here. And character-driven scripts, and these two shows currently have it all, in my humble opinion, but Nurse Jackie... Oh, my God.
Well, Mike likes the Jennifer Love Hewitt new series, which we had time to talk about it. Speaking of announcers...
When is it on? Tell me quickly.
It's TNT Sunday nights. They're looking for, this is for you, this is local, and you too, Diva, the Follies. They're auditioning right now as we speak, including tonight at Hemmons.
Oh, really?
Shortly after 7 o'clock tonight, they're looking for announcer voices. So I was thinking of you.
You. Who could be more of an announcer voice than you?
I can't act. Announcer voices tonight at 7 Hemmons.
Let me ask you something.
Two-time.
Let me ask you
something.
They
wrote something in for me last time, so maybe
they'll write something in for you this time.
I can't do 2 weeks of rehearsals. You know that kills you. I'm old. Thank you. And keep that camera away from me. But Follies, tube time. Yes, April 27th and 28th in Hemmons. $10 a ticket. Well, what's your next question?
Did you guys know what the word scuttlebutt is? Do you know what scuttlebutt is?
It means that when a ship is thrown away.
No.
All right.
It's a rumor or gossip. And, listen to this, it's a drinking fountain or cask of drinking water on a ship. So the scuttlebutt
it came from
was the original water cooler. Who knew? But switching our scuttlebutt gears here, today on the Laura Dion-Jones Show, our very special guest is Rex Huppke, and he is an outstanding reporter at the Chicago Tribune who writes a workplace advice column called I Just Work Here, and it runs every Monday in the business section, and you can read it there or online at chicagotribune.com under the business section. And we're going to be talking workplace and psychological vampires because Rex wrote a terrific article about workplace vampires last week in the Chicago Tribune.
Ooh, and we're the zombie capital, so it all fits.
Yeah.
And
Lincoln. And he wasn't even in Contagion.
Yeah.
And how many of us out there know a few people that are just psychic vampires that kind of suck us dry? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Just trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So get your questions ready for Rexy, because he's going to come on and tell us all about it. So hold that thought, get out the garlic and the crucifixes, because on that note, we're going to get right down to business today here on the Laura Dion-Jones Show. Stay tuned where you are, and please don't touch that radio dial, because in the studio with us today are Mike Hunziker, one of my favorite guy pals, loyal sidekick and trusty board man, who got another haircut, and Jeff Myers, my remarkable co-host, and my very favorite YouTube camera girl, Valerie the Swan.
I also lost a half a pound over the...
Hey,
oh, yes.
He's been waiting for that moment. He's going to weep now. Watch this.
Over Easter yet. Over Easter. And please stick around, because as usual, we've got a whole lot of fun and interesting talking lined up for you today on the Laura Dion-Jones Show. You're listening to us on WRMN, 1410 AM. Meanwhile, back at the WRMN Ranch, today's show is brought to you again by...
our good friend and often show guest, Dr. Claire Elias. You know Dr. Claire, don't you? Parts of 24 years, she has been your chiropractic care person, and throughout all of Elgin, so well known, throughout all the Fox Valley area, as you know. And as we pan our YouTube camera to the left, camera person there, you see Exhibit A right here. Now, she didn't throw away her attorneys and didn't call up and say, we're not representing you anymore. Dr. Claire Elias looked at her 24 months ago and said, there is a good specimen that I can take care of, and there it is right there.
And somebody I can straighten out.
Yeah, so you straighten her out. She's like an arrow now. So Dr. Claire Elias, just give her a call. You know where she's at, 847-888-9988 for 24 years at 2001 Larkin Avenue, her current location.
Thank you.
Eva.
And would also like to thank Snob Hounds, a canine clothing company. Think Nike meets Donna Karen, but for canines. And we'd also like to thank Casey Tool, an automotive specialty tool company available through your Snap-on mobile tool distributor. And a very special thank you, as always, to Casey for making this show and all of our shows possible. It is time for Laura's Motivational Minute. Are we ready? Here's the quote.
I'm ready.
All you have to do is look straight and see the road. And when you see it, don't sit looking at it. Walk.
Charlie Chaplin.
No, A-Y. I'm giving you A-Y initials.
A-Y.
Hint.
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
No,
Abraham Lincoln.
No.
Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, Lincoln.
She wrote Fountainhead.
Oh,
Ayn Rand.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the
We know
scoop.
it, we couldn't say it.
No.
Here's the scoop. Hi, Laura. I came across your article in an old edition of First for Women magazine and immediately went to your website. I am 57 years old, 5'6", and would like to lose 20 to 25 pounds. I started walking 2.5 weeks ago and walked 3 to 4 miles for about 45 minutes every day. My question is, when typically do the pounds start to come off? Most of my extra weight is in the abdomen. I appreciate any of your knowledge and any help you could give me. Thank you, MC. Ooh. Dear MC, 2.5 weeks of walking isn't nearly enough time for your body to get the message that you're trying to turn it into a highly efficient fat-burning machine. What matters most for each one of us, however, no matter how much weight we have to lose, no matter what kind of shape we're in, is that we begin to make walking a daily habit right now and keep going for as long as we can move. And I will tell you this, nothing in the world has ever helped me lose this much weight without any gimmicks. 130 pounds and counting, and then maintain it for this long, like daily walking and low-carb dieting have. period. If you stick with this whole daily walking and dieting thing like I advise, if you are completely honest with yourself and give it a chance, all of a sudden you'll begin to hear comments from your friends and others like, wow, what are you doing with yourself these days? You look awesome. Bet you feel great. And you'll smile and say with a wink, come on, take a walk with me and I'll tell you all about it. Please read the rest of my motivational article, Just Walk, on Elgin's Boca Jump website under blogs. Switching gears, do we have any questions? Class? No?
No,
I do have a real quick question.
Okay.
What's different about your eyes?
Ooh.
My eyes?
You've done something different
You
with
had
your
surgery
eyes.
with Ashley Judd. I've seen this.
No. Nothing. You've done the same as last week.
Hang on. Look this way so the YouTube camera can
stop.
zoom in there.
Today they're popping. You've done something. I swear to you, you've done something different to your eyes.
I do nothing. This is a permanent eye makeup. Now you know my secret. Permanent eye makeup, eyelash extensions, and I'm the same. I think it's the new lipstick because last week you said it something also too, and you said that I was glowing, whatever.
That's right. We're the Style Network suddenly. Lipstick on your eyes will work every time.
Lipstick on your eyelids. Multitask. Anyway, no, seriously. I swear, would I not tell you if I'm owning up to permanent eye makeup?
Absolutely.
If I'm owning up to eyelash extensions, would I not?
No, there's something different about you, and something about your eyes are just jumping out. I don't know what it is today.
I'll tell you later.
Oh, my heavens.
So I'm not wrong.
Switching gears,
Okay.
our very special guest today, Rex Huppke, a reporter at the Chicago Tribune who writes a terrific workplace advice column called I Just Work Here, which runs every Monday in the business section and online at chicagotribune.com. Rex says every workplace is required by federal law to employ at least one individual who is spectacularly irritating. That's an incontrovertible or made-up fact. Whether you're a decorator or a litigator, probably even if you're an alligator, there's someone around to tax your nerves and, through bullying or backstabbing or micromanaging, drain your will to live. Let us give a real warm LDJ welcome to Rex Huppke.
Hey there.
Hey, how was
doing?
that intro? Was that okay?
That was fantastic. I'm not used to such things.
Oh, my God. Welcome. We are so excited to have you on the Laura Dion-Jones show.
Well, thanks for having me. Happy to be there.
Hey, listen, give us a little 411 on your background first. Like, tell us about where you grew up and...
Sure. I actually grew up in Florida. I grew up in Tampa, Florida, and then have been kind of all over the place since then. I went to college in Pennsylvania, and then stayed there for a bit, and was in Jersey briefly, and I don't know how much of this you want to hear, but I wound up in Missouri, Colorado, Indiana.
My God, how come you traveled around so much?
Finally here. I just, I went to school, and then work took me to Jersey for a while. Then I wound up going to grad school in Missouri for journalism. And then my eventual wife and I were in Colorado, and then back to Indiana, and then we wound up here. So
2 questions. Are you a Florida native?
I am, yeah.
Me too.
Are you really?
Yes, Coral Gables.
Oh, okay.
South Beach.
Yeah. I grew up, actually, it's Land O'Lakes. It's a little town north of Tampa.
That's where they make the butter, isn't it?
No, that's in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
But that's where everybody thinks they make the butter. So,
Tell us what you do at the Trib.
Okay,
and how you got, how you got started there.
Sure. I actually had been with the Associated Press for a while down in Indiana, and I was sort of a roving reporter there. I just kind of wandered around the state and tried to find interesting stories to write about, which wasn't too hard in Indiana. And then I came up here, and I've been basically a general assignment reporter. I haven't specialized in anything too much, just sort of wandering around, finding kind of offbeat stories and covering some hard news stuff, depending. Then about last June, I started writing this column, which runs every Monday, and it's a workplace advice column, basically. And it's a combination of either me taking questions from people that they email in relating to the workplace and trying to find answers for them, or just sometimes writing on different topics, kind of just taking a topic and running with it a little bit. So it's a lot of fun, and I still do other reporting as well. This is once a week in the paper, so I have plenty of time to do a lot of regular news reporting, and I do some occasional humor columns and that kind of thing. So,
well, and I have another question. When you were at AP, did you know a sports writer who worked with them named Ed Sainsbury?
I did not. No, that doesn't ring a bell.
No, that's
Sorry.
probably before your time. Anyway, you have now become one of my new favorite writers, and I also like a guy named Tom Chiarella who writes for Esquire. And I think
I know the name anyway.
Wow, the way you guys manipulate words, it's awesome.
Wow, that's a good company to be placed in. I appreciate that.
Tell me what a few of your very favorite writers are.
Oh boy, I have always. I like a lot of columnists, I guess. It's the column writing has kind of been my interest for a while, and so I'm a big fan of several people at the Washington Post that I really enjoy.
Maureen?
Maureen Dowd at the New York Times.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I like the Washington Post columnists a little bit better
than
the New York Times, actually. Yeah, I do. I think it's because a lot of my interest falls into politics and that area, and that's kind of their
Tell me your favorite.
specialty. But my favorite columnist there, probably, actually, there's that's a tough question, really. There's a lot.
Two favorites, then.
I like E.J. Dion is one there who I really like a lot, and I think Kathleen Parker is also a really good columnist, and they one leans more to the left, the other more to the right, and it's kind of nice to be able to get the different takes on things.
Nice balance for your brain.
Exactly. So those are two particular favorites, and a lot of other folks out there that I enjoy, but those are two that come to mind anyway.
Listen, how did you get interested in writing a workplace advice column of all things?
Actually, it was not. It wasn't my idea. I had an editor come to me, and they said, "We are interested in starting this, and we'd like to see if you would like to do it." And I have wanted to write a column for quite some time, but this, to be honest with you, was not exactly the entree point that I had expected. And so I said, well, okay, let me think about it. And I went home that night, and I spoke with my wife about it. And I was a little sort of, not sure about things. And she's like, listen, with the workplace, that covers everything. She's like,
it does.
she's like, go for it. That's a great subject matter, and you can do just about anything you want with it. So, thanks to her wisdom, I said, "Oh, okay, good thinking." So, I went ahead and agreed, and she was very much right. It's been a lot of fun. It is something where you can talk about everything from kind of micro stuff like
flip-flops.
Right, exactly. The annoying neighbor in the cubicle with the stinky sandwich every day, or to kind of much broader issues like things involving unemployment. I did a piece early on about some companies that were putting in their job postings that unemployed people don't need to apply. In other words, they don't want to hire unemployed people, and which I thought was reprehensive, and that was something that got into much broader issues, and so that's what I really like about it, though. It's it seems like with every question I get or every topic that I kind of start to look around at, it's like peeling back an onion. You find more and more interesting stuff, and there's different layers to things that you never realized existed. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
I think it's that way with everything in life. You're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show. We're on the air live with Rex Huppke, a reporter at the Chicago Tribune who writes a wonderful workplace advice column called I Just Work Here. And it runs every Monday in the business section and online at the Chicago Tribune. And we're going to be talking about vampires, the psychological and workplace kind. So we're sure you know a few, so stay tuned. Rex, what gives you the idea to write about office vampires?
It was funny. In this case, I was interested in writing just something about people that bother us, because that's obviously probably the most common workplace complaint is that there's some annoying person that you have to deal with on a daily basis. And so I was poking around online, and I just happened to come across this guy. He's a clinical psychologist out in Portland, Oregon. And he had written a book about 10 years ago called Emotional Vampires, Dealing with People Who Drain You Dry. Mm-hmm. Now, that was a book about everyday life. Not just focused on work, but, just talking about the folks who, like after you're done with a conversation with them, you just feel exhausted, and you just kind of can't stand them for whatever reason, or they do certain things that push your buttons. So I called him up, and we had a really nice talk. He was real generous with his time, and as it turns out, he's actually writing a new book now that focuses on workplace, what he calls workplace emotional vampires. So it was kind of a good coincidental timing, I guess. But he was fascinating. What I liked about it so much, though, was that I know as soon as I heard that term, emotional vampire, I immediately that resonated with me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that person is.
Sure, because you know what? We all know several types of these people, and I've known that expression for quite a while, but for you to come up with it and tie it in with the workplace, I thought was brilliant. Tell us a bit about how we can identify the categories of some of these vampires.
Well, he talked about several different kinds, and his approach to this is that the first thing you need to do, as you're saying, is you need to recognize, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with a person who's draining me of my energy or my happiness or whatever. And so, he broke them into some different categories. He had antisocial vampires, which would consist of two different kinds, either bullies, people who are always picking fights or bossing you around or worse, and then people who are con artists, people who...
Sociopaths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically, they get you to do stuff. They promise you things, and then they never come through with whatever they've promised you, and they try to make deals. And so those are the first couple, which again I think are pretty common workplace figures. Then another one, which I really related to, was histrionic vampires, and this again, you can have a couple of different kinds. I mean, there's people where everything is drama, everything is always a big, huge to do, and then also, but kind of a more nuanced form of that is the sort of person who's very positive and very peppy, sort of really pro everything at the company, a real cheerleader sort of for the company.
Narcissistic.
Pardon me?
Narcissistic?
Kind of, yeah. And then when you go to that person with any kind of criticism, they can't take it. Like that just, that puts you on their you're no good list, because everything has to be right, and anything that makes them feel like they've done anything wrong or haven't thought things out is going to just be a disaster. So that's obviously a real problem person. And then another one was just obsessive-compulsive vampires, as this guy calls them. And these are micromanagers, people who are kind of control freaks, and they are just in everything you're doing.
Driven by the fear of making a mistake.
Right, and that's what I thought was interesting. Is his point was they do not. You kind of have to adjust your frame of reference, I guess. Because you feel like they're just constantly bugging you and it's driving you crazy. You're not thinking about the fact that they are actually scared. They're worried about a mistake, and even if you say, "Oh, so that's not a big deal," well, to them it is a big deal. And so, what's important if you're dealing with that kind of a person is to not look at it through your frame of reference. You got to look at it through theirs,
and then you have to find a way.
Hard. It's very hard because we always want to react to things. Especially people are I think we're all kind of naturally defensive, and if somebody's either bothering us or criticizing us or whatever, we tend to want to react in a certain way, and that is what these kinds of people also expect.
I know. I'm very reactionary sometimes.
Yeah.
It just depends.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah. And listen, kids, just like that, it's halftime. So, Rex, hold those thoughts. We'll be right back in a moment with Rex Huppke. He's an awesome reporter at the Chicago Tribune, writes a workplace advice column called I Just Work Here, runs every Monday in the business section. Stay tuned, guys and gals, because you're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show on WRMN 1410 AM, and would like to thank our very special sponsors.
They include Dr. Claire Oleas, who's happy to break up this conversation right now to tell us a little bit about their great chiropractic office she has. And she's so well known in town. You know that so well that you probably went to school with Claire, probably went to college, Boston University, the rowing.
I've rowed with Claire.
You rowed? Well,
yes.
Need we say more? The title of your next play or book or movie. But whatever it is, she is a great chiropractic care person, as you know, Diva. She's been right there, 2001 Larkin Avenue. That's her location, 888-847 area code 888. And, of course, That phone number of 9988 is her number. But drop by sometime, and again, camera pan
tell
right there. Yeah, tell them Diva sent you with the mysterious eyes, as you can see right there on the camera.
But it's really
our
my
Tribune
new
Man. We're on
lipstick.
YouTube as well. Yeah. So right there is our Exhibit A, and that is speaking for Dr. Claire Olaus.
And a big thanks to Snob Hounds and Casey Toole, weekly sponsors of ours, without whom our show would not be possible. You are listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show, and we're back on the air live with Rex Huppke, a reporter at the Chicago Tribune, writes a wonderful workplace advice column called I Just Work Here, which runs every Monday in the business section or online, chicagotribune.com. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, where were we here now?